Now in the show, they didn't give much details. So we will assume that this is the network infrastructure of France Coffee. Now here on the top, we have many routers from R1 to Rn. We don't know how much routers in fact, but this is our assumption. Now each router connected to switch. Now this is a gigabit switch. The router also is a gigabit router because it is a fiber, as Elliot mentioned show. Now here on the left we have a number of computers, now from C1 to Cn. Now again, either these are a PC, desktop, laptops, mobile phones, Android, iOS, anything, it doesn't matter. We assume that they are connected to the internet. Either they are connected directly to the Wi-Fi, to the router, or there are access points that are connected to the switch that are giving Wi-Fi signals, or they are connecting directly using Ethernet. Well, regardless, we didn't know, but this is our assumption. Now here on the switch, we have the server that has the Tor website, and we assume that the server is on router 1. Then Elliot comes and connected to the network, either using the Wi-Fi or Ethernet, whatever, and then he started the hacking. The first thing he will do that detecting all the hosts that are connecting to this network. So how he did this? By using detection tools like NetDiscover or Nmap or whatever. But here in this course we will use the NetDiscover. Now NetDiscover as is, it will start searching the whole network. So this is the subnet mask, and here start sweeping over the IP addresses. Now again, this is our assumption if the Tor server here on the same network. But if this server on a separate network and isolated network, there are no way that Elliot can hack this Tor server or know about it. There's no way. If he didn't find the Tor server on the current access point, he needs to change his place physically to connect to another access point or another Ethernet and use the tool NetDiscover until he finds the server. Now we found out that this is the router or the access point we are connected to, as you see from its IP address, and here is the MAC address, the number of count of the buckets and the length or the latency, and here is the vendor, our host name. Now we will assume that this is the Tor IP address, as you see, Huawei technology. Now, as we mentioned before, Tor websites is just a normal website running on a normal server. But how to connect to this server is what make Onion secure, because it is using encryption mechanism, the public and private keys, and multi-nodes and relays until we reach the destination. But at the end of the day, it is just a normal website running on a normal server. Apache, Nginx, whatever, and has IP address. Now, this depends on the system administrator, so he must secure the Tor website and hardening the system, hardening the boards, and so on. Elliot, of course, find a vulnerability or port open or some leaks or whatever, so he can hack the server. Now, how we will distinguish between the real server or not? Well, there is no guarantee that you will distinguish between them, but you can here decide by the MAC vendor or host name. So Intel PC or Intel server or some vendor of server. So this is a solution. Or you need to check the hosts one by one. So if you have like this Asus Tech Computer Inc., you need to check it and start the hacking on it, and so on. So it will take a long time. In fact, it is not that fast. Okay, now we discovered that this is the IP address. So we will start man the model on this machine. So let's put our IP address here. Now as you see, we decided that this is the gateway or the router, and this is the IP address of the Tor server. Let's start poisoning, and again here let's put it, but here from the server to the gateway, as you see, like this. Now let's open Wireshark and we will use the interface. Now again, it doesn't matter, depends on the type of connectivity. If you are using Wi-Fi adapter, then you need to use WLAN 0 or whatever its name on your system. If you are using Ethernet cable, then you need to type and put the Ethernet. like this. Now as you see, we are capturing all the traffics between the server, the Tor server, and the gateway. So we are man in the middle on this server. Now, if the server using HTTPS, there are no way you can decrypt the packets unless you are the CA, the certificate authority itself, and you have the private key for that session that has been established for that certificate, let's say, on that server. And I think it is impossible. But anyway, now this part of the hack is not real, as in the show, because if it is encrypted, there's no way you can decrypt. I mean, you can decrypt it in theory, but after, I don't know, 100 million years or something like this, unless you have the public or private key or the key bears for that session on that certificate. Because as you know, the certificate will be valid for a specific time, I think 60 days or 90 days. So that's not real. But let's assume that it is using HTTP protocol. And this is where it comes real. Now here we will use and see all the traffic that the Tor server are using. So let's assume that the Tor server doesn't use SSL certificates or something like this, are using only HTTP, because depends on the stuff on that server. I mean the disgusting stuff, the child pornography. So as you see, if the server is connecting to specific web pages that are uploading specific images and so on, that using only HTTP, plain text, as we mentioned before, we can see and we will be able to detect all the traffic from it. And that's how Elliot recognized that there are a server, because there are, as you see, a GET request and a plain text HTTP. Elliot mentioned that he controlled the exit node. And as we mentioned before, the exit node is the final node that will connect directly to Tor server. So the connection between the exit node and the server is not encrypted. And as you see, we are right now capturing all these traffic by assuming that this is the server and the traffic is not encrypted. So we are between the Tor server and the gateway, or the Tor server and the exit node, and the exit node on the same network. Now this is the only case. Now again, this is just a TV show. It's not real 100%, but it is somehow accurate, and that is good. Now, after we discover that this is the IP address for this server, and we did the man-in-the-middle attack, so we can capture all the traffic and see the password, see the HTTP, see the images, and so on. So the next step is by scanning this IP address or this machine. So we will use the tool called Nmap. It's very famous and popular. So Nmap, put the IP address 12, okay, like this. Now as you see, we have here 111 TCP on RC bind, and we have this open on CS listener. Now if you open your browser and put the IP address with the specified port, let's see what will happen. Now this is just assumption. Again, the show didn't give us so much details, so we will assume that. Yeah, as you see, we open and we discover the website is here. Okay. Now maybe this is very simple, because as Elliot mentioned, that Ron's, the owner of the Ron's Coffee, make it very hard to be discovered. I mean, maybe he are running a firewall or IP tables. If he is using Fedora, he will use SE Linux, security enhanced Linux, and so on. So maybe he find a vulnerability on that firewall or in that machine, or an open port or a service that running on that machine. Maybe he is using FTP, for example, or something like this. Okay, then he exploit this and use it to access the server, either by doing like this on the web, or to upload a reverse shell so he can connect to the terminal as a console, so he can open and serve this Tor website normally. So again, the show didn't give us so much information. So for now, that's it.